Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back down the rabbit hole. I'm your host, Monty Hook, and I'm joined in the upgraded studio by Aren Bahia. We interviewed him, when was this?
I was like your second one, I think. Second or third.
Episode number 2, and this guy's such a legend, I had to get him back on again. Good to see you, bro.
Great to see you, buddy.
Yeah, we've been hanging out a little bit in the last few months and did New Year's together, and we did some journeys and some hangouts and cool conversations, and you've been up to some. Sounds like you've been doing a lot of planning and working out things for 2021. How's 2020 for you, man? I mean, since we caught up last time, we were talking a little bit about the craziness of the world and 2020 and how lucky we are here in Bali. But what's transpired since then?
Dude, 2020 was obviously not an easy year. I mean, like so many of us really got hit hard with 2020. It was chaos. It took me out of my comfort zone on so many different levels.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, business. I have 2 brick and mortar businesses in Ubud, Bali. Those got crushed.
Yeah.
You know, I felt super bad I had about 20 Balinese people working for me, having to then really take care of them in any way I can, but it being extremely difficult to do so.
And especially considering that you're so hyper focused on community and you speak Indonesian, and that's one of the things I mentioned last time is just how meticulous you are with wanting to give back to the community here. So,
dude, Bali saved my life.
Yeah,
like legit. I mean, I did. I got myself out of the game and came myself out of here and all that. But Bali was something that, if not for Bali, I don't know where I'd be and what I'd be doing.
Yeah,
it definitely wouldn't be in paradise, meeting epic people, doing cool things. It would be something maybe not so positive. So I owe this island a lot, and I made sure that I was giving back to it by connecting so much with the locals, learning the language, giving back, because it was just like, this is home for me now.
Yeah.
So it was just the right thing to do. So when COVID hit, I seen how many people are super affected by it. This island is massively reliant on tourism, and now tourism is not happening anywhere, and so it's been super difficult.
Yeah.
So I got hit really hard with my brick and mortar businesses. Tattoo shops, we would be cranking out like 10 tattoos a day between both of them. Now maybe 1 a week.
Really?
Huge,
Wow.
huge hit in that. Luckily, I was able to focus on other things too, like shift into online more. I'm one of the partners in Yogi Lab. We're an online entertainment and education company. We're putting out courses on spirituality, meditation.
Yep.
We're helping the world through that.
Yeah, and I had Dave on here. That was really powerful.
Yeah.
Episode 12 or 13, go check it out. That one's really good. We were talking about the online Vipassana.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
We're super excited. We want 80 million meditators to come together. And if we get 80 million, we've changed the world.
Yeah.
That amount will raise the consciousness of the planet. And that's such an amazing goal to have as a collective and as a team.
Yeah.
And Dave is an exceptional teacher.
Yeah.
I've never experienced any teacher as...
He's so articulate, man. He's so tapped in.
Dude, he's a dictionary that meditated for 20,000 hours.
Well, not just, and not just the words he uses, but he's just so fluid with how he talks. It's like
100%.
mind-boggling.
Yeah, no, Dave's a genius.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful to have him as a business partner. I've grown so much just being around
like
him.
you're saying, man, it's so cool to, because you met him here in Bali.
Yep.
I mean, magical things happen here in Bali.
Dude, I met him in a hot tub on my birthday.
Yeah.
And I saw him across the fire. There was a little fire pit. We both looked at each other, and he was sitting in full lotus meditating. And we're just like, yo. We just had like this vibe between us. And in my head, I was like, damn, that guy can meditate. I could just feel it. He's sitting like a statue. And I was super impressed. And I just felt like a resonance toward him.
Yeah.
And we hit it off. And at that time, I was teaching yoga in the prisons here. So I was volunteering, teaching yoga, finishing my 500-hour yoga teacher training in Kurobakan Maximum Security Prison.
Wow.
Not far from here.
Yeah.
And I was doing that, and I was letting him know that. And also I had just done my first Vipassana meditation retreat. I was all stoked about it.
Yeah.
He'd done like 1 million. And I was building Karma House, and I thought it was a pretty big deal. I'm building this big business. He's like, yeah, I'm building a meditation center, the Astana.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's cute. Like having no idea. No idea what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
And we were friends for 6 months before I even saw the property, this, cliffront, $10 million epic sunset, biohacking luxury facility. And I'm building some tattoo shop, and I'm thinking mine's all cool. And he's coming up and teaching me meditation in the rice paddies in my house in Ubud when I lived in Ubud. And he was just doing that. We developed a really deep, strong friendship through that. And then when I finally saw the Astana 6 months later, I was like, yo, really? Like, you're hiding this from me the whole time?
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing, and I know we're going on tangents and already, but we tend to think that spiritual people, like mainstream, we tend to have these like preconceived ideas about what spiritual people should be like. And here's this guy who's like lived as a monk, right? Literally, he spent time meditating 16, 18 hours a day or whatever it is, runs for Vipassas, like you said, but he's doing these big things in business.
Yeah.
And he's just very unassuming. He's very humble, right?
That's my favorite type of spiritual people.
Yeah, it's really powerful. It's really powerful.
I love seeing that. Like seeing Dave like that, Rhonda Swan, seeing these people that are absolute powerhouses, but they're deeply connected to a spiritual side. And Dave says it that, business should be an active branch of spirituality. And the more centered we are within ourselves, the more we can accomplish and sustain in the business world.
Yeah.
And I had to really learn that because I was used to making a lot of money back in Canada, not in the most legal ways, not in ways that I'd make my parents proud.
Yeah.
And those are ways that I wasn't spiritually connected to myself. I was spiritually poor.
Yeah.
I was living life like a rap music video, and it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
And then I snowballed and tornadoed myself and spiraled because I wasn't actually building that foundation. But then when you see somebody like David who's done the work, Rhonda who's done the work, and you invest in yourself and you actually get centered and rooted, then they're building and they're taking people with them.
Yeah.
I was a rocket ship on my own.
Yeah.
But now it's like we got a spaceship with homies and we're doing things like really amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's really an important part of a spiritual practice is you can bring people with you.
Yeah.
You're not just a lone ranger.
Yeah.
You can actually handle other people's personalities too because you're emotionally aware and you're spiritually developed, and you can handle all other people's stuff because you can maybe do some stuff on your own, but when you start to bring a team with you, it's hard.
Yeah, and because when we set out on this spiritual journey, it is like just us dealing with our own shit. It's just like, I need to try to fix myself and better myself or whatever it is, but it's very one dimensional. It's very just me, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But it's really powerful when you get to collaborate in a spiritual way.
Man, relationships, like intimate as well as, with friends as well in work, I'd say is like the biggest test of where you're at, in your emotional awareness and your spiritual practice. Yeah. And I really found that out. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the fact that you're attracting these kind of people into your life is a really good indication for you and, the mirror that you're putting out. So
thank you for that.
So let's go back to this, you were saying, you were dealing with things in an unhealthy way before you came to Bali. Yeah. So let's go back there. You were a drug dealer?
I was a drug dealer, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I was a hustler. Okay. Yeah. I was a guy who could get you things. And, I've always been a...
So was it about the drugs, or was it just about the hustle and the entrepreneurial kind of... It's just the... it was just the easy vehicle for the entrepreneurial venture.
You know what? It was about validation. Yeah. To be really honest, I think out of all of that, it was about the validation. I wanted people to see me as someone who was cool. I wanted people to see me as somebody who was respected. People didn't mess with me. That was something that I could see that now looking at it, from above it all.
Like respected from the point of view of like being cool or building something.
Definitely both. Yeah. But I'd say even unpacking it even further to get even more vulnerable around it is I was bullied growing up. Yeah. In my younger years, 8-year-old to 12-year-old Aren was a fat kid. Yeah. And I was bullied.
So it was just a massive overcompensation.
100%. Yeah. I know it started off, and that's one beautiful thing about the spiritual work is like you can really unpack things, and it sucks because you're like, shit, I was so insecure. Shit, I just wanted validation. I just wanted to be hugged. I didn't want to be bullied. And so I started doing this, and you start to see the way you do things, and you're like, that's amazing. But it hurts. It hurts the ego. Yeah. And I saw that I did a lot of things just because I just wanted to be accepted and loved and validated. And then that turned into drug dealing. And it's a weird path to get there, but it got me respect. People didn't fuck with me. I hardened up as a character. I had to roll with sharks, a bunch of people that were scary dudes. And I learned how to fit myself in that world and be accepted by scary men and go and do those stuff. And it turned me into that person because I didn't want to be that little boy anymore. And so when you unpack things like that after a while, it sucks, it hurts, but then now I can act from a different place. Yeah. And now I come into things because I know I have gold to share. Yeah. And I want to spread love.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And I think with what you've created, it's such a polar extreme to where you were. There's obviously things that you can teach other people who maybe not necessarily doing exactly the same thing, but maybe in that kind of place of they know that they're doing something which is not conducive to making their parents proud, like you said, but that's all they got. That's all they got.
Yeah. That's exactly who I want to help right now.
Yeah.
Exactly it. Because that's who I was. I was that lost kid. I didn't have a quite correct frame on things. I wasn't sure of myself. I was doing things I didn't feel aligned to. I definitely didn't make my parents proud, but I also didn't make me proud. And you know, I got the Mercedes, great. You know, I had the fancy hot.
So when you say you weren't making your parents proud, did they know what you were doing, or was it more like that was just internal for you? You didn't feel proud.
Both, but they knew. They ended up knowing. My mom wanted to.
Well, they know now.
Yeah, they definitely found out. Definitely, it wasn't easy. It wasn't hard for them to really know what was going on. I was hanging out with a bunch of older dudes. You know, like Vietnamese guys would be coming to my parents' basement with hockey bags with no hockey stick.
And you had money all of a sudden.
Yeah. 23, had a Mercedes, moved out, got an apartment, bought it. You know, I was being flashy.
Yeah.
My ego was, you know, 8 feet tall, and I was really I wasn't hiding it well. You know, I was really coming out of a place of showiness.
Yeah.
Because it was hurt inside. I wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
So I wasn't making them proud, and I wasn't proud myself because of that. And I noticed after when I came to Bali, I really asked myself who I wanted to be once I got out.
Did you come to Bali because you felt incongruent with who you were being, or did you just happen to get here by chance? Or
actually, well, okay, short story about that. I did a plant medicine called iboga. And
that's the frog with a frog.
No, that's different. Iboga is a plant root from the Gabon region
from Africa.
In Africa.
Yeah.
It's like ayahuasca, but extremely hard.
Yeah.
Like extremely hard. It's
right.
It's
and
like
that was the first plant medicine experience you.
the first medicine ceremony I'd done.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Before that, you know, sure, mushrooms and blah, blah, blah. Recreational things done in a different context without a supportive, caretaking, intentional.
I have heard the iboga is pretty heavy.
Dude. Okay, ayahuasca is like your grandmother that like shows you the way. This is the fabric of the universe.
Yep.
Iboga is like your stern father telling you how much of a fuck up you are over and over and over again. And if you move, you're going to throw up. So you just got to sit there and take it.
Really?
Wow. So hard. But you know what? I came into it with a massive drug dealer ego.
Yeah.
I came into it wanting it to fix me from addiction. I came into it still thinking maybe I could continue in the game after that. If I just fix the addiction, I'll continue on my path to, you know, being a millionaire someday real soon. That was like, you know, and so it gave me a really difficult journey. And I saw all that I had done to become who I was. And I saw like it's a recapitulation. You just start seeing you made choices because you were insecure and you just want to do this and you're like, oh
yeah. And then starts the journey of not beating yourself up about it.
Yeah.
And then that's a constant fight, like, and then catching yourself. I'm beating myself up again. Yeah. Oh, and then you start beating yourself up for beating yourself up. It's like,
totally.
Where does it end?
We got to be compassionate to ourselves.
Yeah.
We absolutely need to be like, yo, I was a certain way at a certain time. I'm a new person now. I can come at things differently. Thank you for those lessons. I'm glad I showed up in how I did because I don't have to be that guy now.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the point of where I feel these things now.
I also think there's power. Like, I mean, I've talked with a lot of people who have these, and it was the same for me. You know, like, I mean, the shit that I got up to in my 20s, man, it was like, I mean, I should be dead or in jail for sure, like 17 times over. Yeah. But I think that is one of the things that has triggered me to go to this extreme on the I'm going to say healthier side.
We need those times. Yeah. We can't beat ourselves up for having played in a bit of mud. That's where lotus flowers grow. That's why I got this tattoo. I was at the time in my life where I was deep in the mud and I wanted to change. And that's what I needed that time. Because if you didn't have that muddy time, how would you know you wanted to change? Yeah. How would you know that you wanted to be somebody else? Yeah. So you need to actually have the mud and to be aware of the mud to actually make some change in your life. So iboga was the mud and seeing the mud and living in the mud continuously. And when you come down from iboga, you just sit there and you shiver for like a day. Yeah. And it was rough. And I did a week-long treatment. Yeah. So I did 7 days.
Did you go into that? Because I have heard it's used very effectively for addictions.
Absolutely.
Like especially like methamphetamine, like ice and
oxys, opiates. Yeah. I went in there for opiate addiction.
Really?
Yes. I was deeply addicted to opiates. I was doing $15,000 a month worth of drugs.
Wow.
Yeah, I should be dead.
Yeah, wow.
They used my drug addiction as a case study for the University of British Columbia to show that iboga could work for people.
Wow.
I was like their case study. Just don't put my name on it. Now everybody knows.
So you did that in Canada?
In Canada,
Yeah.
In a townhouse in a suburb.
Yeah.
With these two dudes.
Yeah, that seems strange, like to bring a plant from Africa to...
I'm so glad they did.
Yeah.
Because it shook me to my core, and I didn't have any experience like that before then.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to see perspective from that vantage point and actually get to see, like, dude, you can change. You need to change. You are responsible for what you've done.
Yeah.
Be responsible and be accountable. Now make some choices. Make some better choices.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there shivering, like, what do I do with my life? My birthday was in 2 days, and I was gonna turn 25. And I was flipping through Netflix, and they're like, don't watch anything violent, because the next night you do your ceremony, you're going to feel it, and you're going to be thinking about that. So, don't watch a Rambo or something, So I flipped through channels, and that's when my life changed, and an angel came to me. Julia Roberts. Dude, I watched Eat, Pray, Love. And I saw her walking through that scene in Bali.
Yeah.
Where she's in a Ubud market. And there's incense and there's prayer and there's just like beautiful things happening.
Yeah.
And I'm just like...
I've heard this story 1,000 times from women, never from a man.
Right? Maybe I could follow off the Brazilian guy. And so it looked nice. So I see what she's doing and I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I need it in my life.
Yeah.
That's not my reality here. I'm surrounded by gangsters. I'm surrounded by people who are in a pessimistic spiral where your weight is what you have.
Yeah.
How nice is your bag? How nice is your belt? What kind of car do you drive? And none of that shit matters, and it's only making me more depressed because I can never keep up with it.
Yeah.
Once I got the Benz, my friend had a Bentley. Once I had this, my friend had that. Nothing mattered. Nothing was enough. And I was feeling completely depressed, and I was trying to fill this void inside of me with things that will not make you happy.
Yeah.
So I saw this Bali thing, and I was just like, that looks special. So I booked a flight. 2 days later, first I had to find out where Bali was. Then I had to find out where Indonesia was. And then I booked my flight. And I got my ass here. I rocked up by myself to Yoga Barn. And I was a drug dealer still, wearing diamond earrings and a Louis Vuitton shirt. I rock up to Yoga Barn and I'm just like, okay, spirituality, I'm ready. And I was such a douchebag. I really came and I was so different. I was still needed to do so much work.
Yeah.
But that was a humongous big step.
Yeah.
That I actually made that step and went somewhere alone and committed to myself. And that was the big thing that I think I needed. That was the biggest act of self-love I ever did, was actually just go and do it by yourself and do it for yourself.
Yeah, it's putting faith in yourself and trust that, okay, well, I'm making a commitment to myself to leave something behind.
Yeah.
And I'm going to trust in myself that whatever is on the other side, I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
There's a massive amount of faith.
That, and it's faith in yourself.
Yeah, especially to give up money and give up.
That was the hardest part. That was the hardest part, to give up the guy that I created, that I was out there with money and power and get whatever I want.
Yeah.
And but I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
But the one thing I really learned that was heartbreaking at the start, but such a powerful reality afterwards that I get reminded of, is there's nobody that made me change. Nobody really had my back in that. I supplied money and stuff for everybody. I was that eco center. No one helped me.
Yeah.
It was me who had to push myself through the change, and no one's ever going to make the change unless you're actually ready.
Yeah.
So don't expect don't expect someone to change if they're not ready.
Yeah.
My parents didn't quite know. No one else had that type of relationship for me to coach me through it, push me through it. I had to be hungry enough to make the change. And that's why I'm so grateful that I had those rock bottoms.
Yeah.
Because if it was kind of okay enough, but not that bad, maybe I wouldn't have changed.
Yeah, and that's why I think so many people just live, I'm going to say, ordinary lives, just stuck in the matrix and going about their day, all day, every day for 40, 50 years, and nothing ever changes because they haven't had those extremes.
It's a tragedy.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy to not have extremes in your life.
Yeah.
And well,
hang on, by the way, we're not conducing going and becoming a drug addict or a drug dealer. That's not what we're saying here.
Not at all. What we're saying is, if you hit a rock bottom, embrace it. 'Cause it's a great place to change.
Yeah.
And those shifts have been the best decisions I ever made. And investing in myself and just going and doing it and realizing like I had the power to shift.
Well, I mean, you're doing amazing things now, man. And what you're involved with now. And what's cool about what you're doing is there's that essence of wanting to give and spirituality through your businesses. Obviously with Karma House and the tattoos and the way that that happens.
Yeah.
But Yogi Lab is, it's educational platform really helping a lot of people, and done in a very, very good, like it's really well done.
Oh, thank you.
Really well done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the stuff that you're up to now is awesome.
I just feel so much better about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And not aside from, the dope game, but even before that, when I had jobs, when I thought I was going to be doing other things for work that would make lots of money. I thought I'd be a realtor for a while and that'd be great. I'd make lots of money, but I just feel so fulfilled now that I'm able to help people in a bigger, deeper level, and I believe in it.
Yeah.
I mean, realtors do too. No knock against that. Some of my great friends are epic realtors. I'm just saying I needed to actually do something that was a bit outside of the box because I'm a weird dude. I'm a strange character. I'm
You're not strange at all, man.
I need to do something that's going to make a big impact.
Yeah.
And also, I know I believe in karma deeply.
Yeah.
And I'm here to actually right some of the wrongs that I made.
Yeah.
Do something amazing.
Yeah.
Help a lot of people.
Cool, man. That's awesome. So, what are you up to 2021? What's your theme for 2021? Have you got a theme?
Yeah, it's going to be the breakthrough. It's going to be like really, really putting a lot of effort and intention into it with the same intensity that I had when I was leaving the game. The same intensity that I had to make it. I did that and I made a massive impact out here and I did so many things and I was like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
And then I got a bit complacent because I did a few things and I got a little bit successful out here. I made some good friends and I was like, good enough. And then I realized I got into that same complacent space, the handcuffs of like, good enough, that I wasn't growing anymore.
Yeah.
And then the depression starts kicking in again. And I'll be happy to admit that, this 2020, I spent a lot of the year depressed, man.
Yeah.
It was hard. I started going into that complacent mode. I started feeling like I was degenerating. I wasn't evolving, and I forgot I'm happy when I'm moving forward. I'm happy when I'm moving forward like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
When I'm doing amazing things with people I love. When I'm fired up about growth, like that's the best version of me. Is crushing it. Yeah. I need to be that guy.
So do you think that that's the answer for anybody else who's dealing with that kind of thing? Is just to have something to pour yourself into?
For me personally, yes, and I think that is a great answer for people, is purpose. Have a mission you believe in, do some stuff you care about, and make sure it's helping other people. And I think that's a great cure for depression.
Yeah.
Something I deal with, and I think that a lot of people can resonate with that. And you're kind of like, what's the point? Why even bother? But then if you think, bother because it's going to help other people too, and pull that like juicy goodness inside of your heart out. Yeah. And then your life is worth living again. Yeah. And then you're having fun doing it. And doing it with people that make you laugh. Yeah. People that's fun to do it with,
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I've ever struggled with depression. It's in my family. I would say I've definitely had my moments of anxiety, and I still do. Yeah. But it doesn't stay with me. Like, I'm just super quick to catch it. Like, it doesn't take a hold of me. So it's hard for me to kind of relate to, other people's depression. And, my sister's been in and out of hospitals and all sorts. And it's, obviously I'm compassionate, but it's not something I can relate to, so to speak. But I mean, anxiety, sometimes it just, it just kind of comes over me. But I think I've just integrated enough practices in my life now, enough disciplines and enough habits where it doesn't take over, because those other things are already taken over. Like, they're so strong now. Yeah.
It's super important, and I'd rate how I'm dealing with and how I've dealt with depression and anxiety in a similar way as like structures in life. And we need plans, we need blueprints, we need go-tos, we need tools, and those things really help. Much like if you're trying to build a house, you're not going to do it with a spoon.
Yeah, and people say, I've heard people talk about, you shouldn't need those. You should be able to overcome those things without the structures. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I like the way Russell Brand talks about his addiction, right? He's like, okay, well, I used to be alcoholic, so I'm just not going to go to a bar. But then some people have the theory of, well, if you're fully empowered and you fully overcome it, you should be able to be in a bar and drink soda water or cranberry juice. It's like, what's the point? How does it serve you?
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Man, I hear a lot of people say that, and that's so holier than thou. And it's just like, you don't have my experiences. You don't have Russell Brand's experiences. Hey, if there's help that we can get and things that work, do it.
Yeah.
Do it. There's no shame in that for me. 100%. Much like I was saying, is like, if I'm going to build a house, You could probably do it with a spoon. I don't know, maybe if it fucking take you a long time. I hear hammers are great. I hear a lot of people use hammers. I hear they're effective in building houses. Yeah. I'm going to try a hammer. I'm going to use it because just like that with depression, just like that with using meditation, using breath work, using tools. I'm here to take those things and use them because they work, because I want to live a happier life. And if I get to that point where I don't need these things anymore, cool. It sounds like it'd be a really, really far place, but I don't know if it's possible.
I don't know that I would want to or need to. Yeah. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
Let me just do it forever.
Yeah, they make me happy. Yeah. So it's something that I think it's really important. So like what I'm putting together for this 2021 plan is I want to put together all the practices that made me successful and help people with those. And these are things that continue to work for me. Yeah. And I need structure in my life because I'm a weird dude. Like I said, I need structure. I love structure. It helps me be a better person. And there's people that don't need so much. Awesome. But I'm here to help the people that are like me on some level. Yeah. And that's the people that I want to have care for. I want to put my energy for. I want to help along the way because I've done so much in life that has been really crazy that I know I can relate to a lot of people on different levels. Yeah. And if I had somebody like me helping me, a little bit earlier on my path, it'd be huge for me.
Well, and what I like about you sharing your story is that you are very vulnerable about, what you got up to, and that's not that easy. There's a lot of people out there who have probably similar stories, and there's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt, and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want it out. It might be with their close friends or whatever, but not out in the open. And I tend to think that speaking these things outwardly and speaking to it and fully acknowledging it, fully embracing it is the thing that allows you to make something really great of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. When I first got out and I first was kind of telling my story, there was an egoic arrogance to it. And like I really was glamorizing it. And I was forgetting the pain behind it. I was forgetting how rough it was. I was forgetting how much it wasn't cool. And that's why I left and why I got out. And then I realized, then I hid it for a while and I didn't want to talk about it. And I just wanted to be like a philanthropist businessman and just like, let's just do that. That's a shinier coating to my ego. I don't want people to know that I went through such rough times because I felt it would affect their idea of me now, the perception. Yeah. And then I realized if I just put it all on Front Street and people see that, I can help way more people.
And what's kind of coming to me now is, this is very common, like you were saying before about the eat, pray, love. It's like when we're not fulfilled with something, then we go, we seek that spirituality, whatever it is, and then like just jump straight in the deep end of that and try to be spiritual, right? And then that becomes an identity. But where the real power is not forgetting who you were, like embracing who you were, and then weaving the spirituality with that. Because there's real power in that. Because you're able to tell your story authentically. And
you like literally just explained the last 4 or 5 years of my life. Because I did exactly that. Yeah. I went full Ubud, I went full hippie, I went full spiritual. I did the beard and mala beads and ashrams and yoga teacher trainings. I did everything possible. Yeah. And I went full spiritual path. But I wasn't being totally authentic to myself. I wanted to be so that guy that I was forgetting who I was, where I came from, and I didn't have to be that person anymore, but I was trying to just swallow that, just push that down. Don't put that out there. Yeah. And then I remembered, hey, that's not fully authentically me, and that I do want to create business and I do want to be getting things done in the real world materially also. And I had to weave those together. And then I realized I can have like a holistic approach to that, and I can actually be
spiritual hustle.
A spiritual hustler, exactly. And I can help people, and do it in a good way and be real about it, not hide. And like I fucked up, but hey, there's way out. And actually portray and live that.
Cool.
Really do it.
So you're doing a new program or something?
Yeah,
that's what you're. Well, 2021.
Absolutely. I want to be helping people that have gone through similar things or who are going through a point where they really want to change, and they just don't quite know how. Yeah. And one thing that always worked for me, because I was a hyper-functional person and still am, I do lots of things at once, but the structure really helps. So I'm going to put this program out. The first one is the blueprint to a powerful 2021. I'm going to go at 2021 like I did at 2016 when I started over. I'm going to go at it like it's life or death for me. I'm going to crush it. I want to see how much I can accomplish this year. And I got a formula that made it through then. And I'm going to use that six pillars formula for here. smash this year and take a bunch of people along with me.
Yeah.
Do it as a squad, do it as a tribe. How many of us can make this the best year of our life after having a really hard year?
Yeah.
And I'm going to go at it with that same energy I did, that same hunger that I had when I first started over, and just, let's make it happen, because I know that works.
So are you assuming that 2021 is going to be better than 2020 and it's all over?
I'm not assuming anything, because I know it's going to be kind of crazy, and I'm expecting crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm choosing to take the stance of power, that I'm going to choose my stance. Whatever happens in 2021, I'm going to have a more powerful stance at it, and I'm going to be making things happen for me.
Yeah.
You know that energy where you're just like, I'm choosing to attract in these things.
Yeah.
Rather than, okay, it's a chaotic year, but my stance is power, self-practice, and creation.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm going to flow through this year. That's how I'm going to make things happen, not even flow.
I reckon chaos is good for me. Like
Yeah.
I just woke up and tapped in like,
Yeah.
okay, here's what I'm going to create. Like I think it's some kind of leadership thing or something. It's like, because without that chaos it's all kind of like just dormant and.
Dude, totally.
It's something triggered me like, no, time to go. Time to stand up.
Well, that's exactly how I felt. And I think there was a little while in 2021 where I was floating around and like, wow, maybe the world will change in a couple of months. Maybe this will all blow over. And I was complacent. I was being a jellyfish instead of a shark. Yeah. No offense to jellyfish. But I was like, I wasn't swimming forward and really just making things happen for myself, right? So I was complacent, I was floating, and now it's time that I'm choosing a stance, and that's just to make things happen this year.
And I think what's good for a lot of people is just the chaos has made people go, oh fuck it, I've got nothing else to lose anyway. Yeah. Like, let me just try this other optimistic, positive approach.
Totally.
Yeah.
And some people did that, and other people were still like not quite knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And so I want to have the approach of being, of adapting.
Yeah.
So things are going to happen, but I'm going to adapt. And now I'm going to adapt to my stance of just forward movement.
Yeah. So what is that? Is that like if I'm hearing the unspoken, that is the self-power, right? So regardless of what circumstances are happening around you, whether it's good, bad, whatever, it's just always that level of self-power where I'm in control of how I feel, I'm in control of my own world, regardless of what's happening around. Is that kind of the objective for, like, is that how you would articulate it? Or what is the thing that you are wanting to give people?
That for sure.
Yeah.
Self-power is overall a humongous goal out of that. Yeah. But I want to get even more practical is plans. Because when I have a plan, I'll crush it. I know where I'm going. And that's super important for me. So it's like, have a blueprint to what you want to accomplish. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? What's in the way? And how do you chip away those things in the way? Yeah. And that's how I built the businesses out here, is I just make a list of everything I have to do, all the things I need, who are the people I need to know, and how do you get those things done? And that's a hustler mindset. Everything is speed bump, solution. Not even really a problem, not even really a setback. It's just like how you got to get around, navigating around it. Yep. So that's like that mindset that I have, and that's really made me successful, was that mindset. And I want to get that back in and help people through it. So I'll be doing a coaching program for people that really want to restart their life, full 12-week program. And I'll help people go, if they want to go legit to business owner, from dope game to business owner, if they want to go from chaos to contentment, I'll help people transform their lives massively by how I did it, and get them structure, plans, and help them along the way. Yep. And that's think of solution-based thinking, positive mindset, but also just getting shit done, not a fluffy approach. Yep. It's just solution, 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 solution. And when I think that way, I'm super powerful, and I accomplish amazing things in my life. And it's just that adaptive mindset, because problems are part of life. Yeah. Suffering is a part of life. We're going to deal with this regardless. But having that, I'm going this way mindset, and whatever comes along my way, I'll adapt around. No problem. But as long as I know where I'm going to go, I'm a happier person.
So where are you going?
Success, crushing it. I want 2021 to be epic. Yeah. I want to be making a massive impact on the island, build a property development company. I want us to be building epic villas. I want us to be doing amazing things there. I want to adapt so my team working at the tattoo shops will be able to be supported. Yep. Bring in new clients, bring in things that way, and the coaching program and Yogi Lab to be affecting millions of people with meditation. So it's like, great, we have things to do. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, it's been, I guess, a bit of a weird time for you. Like, the bricks and mortar business is not doing so well, but then I'm assuming Yogi Lab is kind of picked up, and like, because you've put a lot of energy and attention, and a lot more people are seeking now than they were before.
Yeah, definitely. It's super important. Yeah. It's been a time to pivot and adapt.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important thing to acknowledge.
Yeah.
So not to get caught up on the things that aren't working, but adapt and make things work in other areas. And I myself took a couple of months to actually have that mindset right. Because for a little while I was like, well, maybe things will change. And then it was like, no, make things change. Because you can't control maybe things will change. But you can control make things change. And so us doing that with Yogi Lab was huge for us. It was amazing to actually just put more
I
energy
think
in.
my theme for 2021, if I kind of reflect on 2020, there's a lot of deconstruction for me. Like, I wasn't really in a hardcore hustle building phase. It was more like, if I look at the whole year across the board, there was a lot of deconstruction, a lot of like surrendering to new things, and I wasn't really in like a lot more sitting still, a lot of embracing spiritual practice, and starting the podcast, but with no real agenda. There's no real kind of, it's all kind of effortless and it's just kind of flowed together, but not any real kind of major business objective behind it. And now what I feel in 2021 is, okay, it's time to build again. Yeah. It's time to build again.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Yeah, totally. It was, I think a lot of us went through that time in 2020 of just like going internal, doing some self-work. And that was a really important time for us to invest in ourselves, for us to see how we really feel, to see the things that we can work on that aren't so external because we can't go anywhere. So it's like, okay, go inward. Yeah. And that was an important time. And now with 2021 coming around, it's like, okay, how can we adapt to build externally now? And I think that's a really important time. And a lot of people are feeling that hunger again to like, all right, man, I'm ready to create. Yeah. I want to create. I want to do things on my own. I want to do things for myself again. Yeah. It's like, okay, now's the time. Let's all do it together. If everyone wants to band up, that wants to make some changes, we band up. We're powerful together. This
is what I like about you, is you're very attuned to the collaboration. It's like, okay, I got an idea. Who do I need? Who do I need? Because I mean, my old paradigm is, okay, I've got an idea. Let me figure it out myself. Let me do it myself. Let me build it myself. Let me not ask anybody. Let me not get help from anybody, and do an okay job with it, but not really a very extraordinary job.
It's super important. This is what made me a good drug dealer.
Yeah.
Because you gotta work with everybody.
Yeah.
Some people have some things you can't get, or some people have talents that you don't have. And it's important to be able to work with other people, and I enjoy it. Really. Like, I enjoy meeting you and we get to jam, and you have perspectives that I don't have that I would love to learn about. And I think that's what the most powerful thing about Bali was to me, was the people. The Balinese people also, but huge, the expat community, because I met a bunch of people that had lives that I had no idea existed. I didn't know how people do things in Germany. Now one of my best friends is from Germany. Yeah. Things like that. There's perspectives that we can have. And I think the biggest...
It's kind of like a bit of a melting pot where cool minds come from other countries that feel aligned to be in Bali for whatever version of Eat, Pray, Love there's theirs. Like everyone, like mine's something similar, but it's just not based on Julia Roberts. And, you know, people who... like the cafes here are so amazing because like people have brought best foods from around the world and kind of molded them into here. I think Bali's a really good example of what's possible with communities. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's super important about that is we consistently get perspective shifts. Yeah. And I think that's one of the most powerful things we can get. Yeah. Is learn something from a different angle that you wouldn't have got in your neighborhood or your country or your continent. You come out here and learn things from people from completely different places in life, different walks of life. There's different ideologies there, different vantage points.
Different religions, different everything.
Everything. And then you can see things from a different angle and then be like, whoa, hey, that's the path that I'd like to take. Yeah. And you can go that way and act differently from that perspective, right? Yeah. You change the way you look at things, you're going to change the world around you. Yeah. And that's been the most powerful thing for my growth out here. Yeah. Because I got to grow out of the neighborhood I grew up in. Yeah. Because I met a bunch of people that I'd never meet in the neighborhood I grew up in.
And it doesn't have to be that fluffy version of the Ubud Eat, Pray, Love. Yeah. I mean, you and I are pretty successful, ordinary guys, and we've got crystals here, and we've got rocks from Medicine Woman. Yeah. And this is the lighter stick from a ceremony that we've participated in together doing plant medicine. Whilst we're on the topic of plant medicine, what's been the biggest kind of learnings for you? Like, has that been like a critical part of your spiritual journey or your journey?
I had some really beautiful insights. I mean, obviously plant medicine really kicked my ass with iboga, and I needed that. So it was super important for me to get that. And like I was just talking about with perspective shifts, that's what I felt plant medicines did for me. They had really important perspective shifts from a perspective that I isn't on this realm, or, you know.
Well,
I mean, important.
There's the actual experience of what happens from the medicine, like the physical effect of, okay, I have a medicine inside me and I'm having some psychedelic experience or however you want to describe it. But what I've observed, or a lot of my learnings from plant medicine, has been from the ceremonies, like the rituals and the sacredness, right? And that's why I have this here, and it seems like a bit of a, you know, woo-woo kind of thing to do.
It's awesome.
But it reminds me of the sacredness, right? And the way that these ceremonies are done is so meticulous, and it's so well done, and there's so much discipline. And you're kind of in there going, holy shit, like these people are on another level, and you just kind of realize, oh, okay, like there's more levels of that discipline for me to go.
Yeah.
And integrating that sacredness, even though it's little things like this, it's just reminding me to be present.
Yeah. That really reminded me of a lesson I got from an ayahuasca ceremony.
Yeah.
And it came in really hard for me was, it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Yeah.
And that translated to intention.
Yeah.
And putting intention into anything we do.
And this brings me to a dream that I had 2 days ago. And what came to me was, it's never about what we do. Like, because we look for our purpose, or filling that void of not feeling fulfilled, whatever there is. We look for it in the what. What are we doing? Am I going to be a coach? Am I going to be an entrepreneur? You know, what vehicle am I going to pursue in life? The what. It's never about the what. It's always about the how. Like, how are you showing up? Focus on that, and the what will figure itself out.
Exactly.
Or it will evolve. Yeah.
Well, it'll just also make the what so much deeper. It could be the same what, but like, even if you're listening to this right now and you and me sitting here, can we sit with more intention?
Yeah.
Can we really drop in?
Yeah.
Can this moment be intentional?
Yeah.
I felt chills when I just looked at your eyes like that. Things shifted for me. Right?
Yeah.
How can we make this sacred?
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't have to be a plant medicine ceremony. Can everything be intentional?
Yeah.
Everything we do, can the why be sacred?
And that starts with me from the moment that I wake up, which is why I have these little things around me, because it just reminds me. Just reminds me to stay there. And again, it comes back to the same conversation. It's like, should we need to have these things to be present all the time? Maybe, maybe not. I don't give a fuck. It works for me.
Fuck, if it works, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I want those little reminders. I want reminders to be intentional, because we're consistently having reminders not to be, taking us out of presence. I'd say social media is one of the biggest ones.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my God, it's what's taking me away from that real presence. And I see that then when I'm trying to be present with someone else, I'm still in that scrolly mindset and I'm not really being here. But as soon as it was like, hey, Monty, can we really be here right now?
Yeah.
Things got deeper for me.
Yeah.
Things get more impactful and I'm happier.
Yeah.
And I forget that presence is one of the biggest gifts that we can give someone. And if you can really be here with someone,
Yeah.
you know, and that's something that I want to have more in my life.
Yeah.
And I forget that. Am I actually listening? Am I really here? Am I waiting for what I want to say next?
And it's also very inspiring for other people when you can show up that way, because people feel it. Like, when you show up with that level of presence, and they can feel that, oh, like, this guy's here for me. Like, they can feel it, and then that triggers something or inspires something.
Yeah.
I think people underestimate completely the power in showing up for people.
Yeah.
Well, showing up for themselves as well, but just being super present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're really conditioned to not be.
Yeah.
And it almost is a layer of protection to not be super there for someone, be really in a conversation, be really vulnerable and hiding behind your phone. But like, I realize life is better when I show up and really take interest in people. and like life is just a better space. I'm slower then, and I think things are better.
Yeah.
And I notice that makes me a happier person.
So how do you think then that, because obviously we live in a world now where, the big tech companies, they're making their money from that attention and making us not present, right? So when the world's seemingly against us on that one, how do we move the needle for ourselves?
Structure and discipline.
Yeah, I mean, it's it sounds like such a chore.
Yeah. But like, hear me out.
Yeah.
Because I know that sounds rough when it's just like, how do we be more spiritual?
Because we associate that probably to being in school or something. And it's like school teachers, like, I've got to be in class at this time, and it's just,
totally fuck all that. I was horrible at that. It's structure and discipline you put for yourself for the reason of self-love.
Yeah.
So you're doing this as a courtesy to yourself. You're doing this as an intention for you to be happier.
Yeah.
So putting in these breaks, these timings, these times when Aren's going to be happier now. I'm doing this so Aren can be a happier, more dropped in, kinder human being, but kinder to myself first. So I want to put in those little breaks and have them reminders in my phone of like, be present.
Yep.
Okay. Remember, be a little bit more present. In the morning, love yourself. Be an amazing human being. Okay, great. Do that for yourself first. I need those little tips. I like them because that little structure creates freedom because I'm less balled up, and I can walk the world a little bit better. And so I think those are important. And that's what I want to be putting out to helping people with the full reset program, is also making sure that people know why they're doing things.
And I'll just add to this, because I think in the mind has a conflict between freedom and discipline, right? But actually, freedom exists nowhere other than the mind. It's just a concept of the mind, right? Because one person's freedom is another person's slavery, or whatever. The disciplines that we put in place become habits, right? And then when it becomes an organic part of the day, well, that is freedom, because you no longer need to think about it. When you're putting the disciplines in place, it might feel like a chore, and it might feel like the opposite of freedom. It's like, this is hard, this is hard. But when it's integrated, when you can embody that and just becomes part of your life, well, that is freedom, because freedom is only in the mind. And when you don't have to think about something, it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that point, when you're saying that it's a chore in your head, and we were just talking about the why and intention, it's like, remember, you're doing things for yourself to make yourself happy. You're doing things for yourself to be intentional, and that's self-love. And so, like, if you're listening to this podcast right now, you're doing it because you want something positive. You want to invest in yourself. You're doing this for yourself. So, like, take in some information for yourself that's going to make you slightly happier, maybe a new perspective, something to that effect. And it's like, great. When you remember that, you're like, good job, me. Like, hey, I'm showing up for myself. And those little pats on the backs are so important for me. And so when I start my day off consuming some really mindful content, doing something good for myself, I'm just like, I feel a bit better. I'm like, you know what? I remember why I'm doing things.
Yeah.
Eating healthy. Like, I didn't like broccoli before, but then when I started knowing, hey, broccoli is good for you, and I eat broccoli, I'm like, yo, it starts becoming better for me. I'm like, hey, I'm actually doing this. I'm being good to myself.
Yeah.
And so I think we forget to remember to be good to ourselves.
Yeah. Let's talk about self-love.
Yeah.
Because between you and I, it's an ordinary conversation on this podcast, right? It's an ordinary conversation for the circles that we're around in Bali. But I can't imagine it's an ordinary conversation for drug dealers.
No.
So how do you open this? How do you open that up? Or is it just you go around it and in from another angle, or do you speak directly to self-love?
You know what? I think it's a difficult one to really bring up, but I want to be bringing up self-love directly.
Really?
Yeah, directly. Like, how much do you really love yourself?
Yeah.
And it's not if you bought yourself another chain or, like new rims on the Ferrari or something.
Yeah.
It's like, yo,
just the notion of self-love for, I'm going to say a drug dealer is probably very foreign, and I assume there'd be a lot of resistance, because it's so against their identity almost.
Yeah.
Right. There's going to be a lot of resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the resistance, because again, the why isn't connected there.
Yeah.
Why love yourself? So you don't need fancy stuff to make you happy, because that's never really going to make you happy. It gets old, and none of the drugs are ever going to be enough. Once you come down, you're still going to feel shitty. And so that's super important to fill yourself up with that love. So you can be happy when you're alone.
Yeah, and whilst I agree with the idea of speaking directly to self-love, I think one of the ways to it, which is not talked about enough or is underestimated, is self-esteem. And self-esteem is the reputation you have with yourself. And that comes from integrity, doing what you say you're going to do, right? When you can, I'm going to make this commitment, I'm going to do this thing, and I can do it, well, then there's this, it's like you've got a little purse of believing in yourself and self-esteem, and every time you do so, you're just putting one in there. And every time you don't do it, subconsciously, you're taking coins out, right? So when you say you're going to wake up at 5:30 a.m. and you wake up at 6, it might not seem like a big deal, right? But there's something subconsciously, which is you saying, I'm going to take a coin out. I don't believe in myself.
Yeah.
If you wake up at 5:29, right? Well, then there you go, coins in the bag. And then that escalates.
Yeah.
And then that's where I feel for myself, a lot of self-love comes from, believing in myself, which is from doing what I say I'm going to do.
That's exactly it. Yeah. That's exactly what I wanted to plan for this 2021 as well, was setting a bunch of goals, and then under those goals, little micro goals. And every little one that I can hit is the step to those big goals, and that's the step to self-love, and that's the step to doing what I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I remember, a huge thing for self-love for me was I set the goal of moving to Bali. I set the goal of learning Indonesian. I set the goal of opening businesses. And I was like, oh shit, those are big mountains.
Well, and when you can do things that you never thought that you would do before, that's even bigger. Yeah. That's even bigger. Because, to say, I'm going to wake up at 5:30 a.m. doesn't seem like a big deal. Maybe it's not. But when you can do something like start a business and you're like, I never thought I could start a business. That's massive.
They're both super important though, because there's many times I hit snooze and then I didn't feel as good as I would if I just got up and used the little tools. I shook myself. Yeah. I took a cold shower. I did some breath work, and then I felt a bit better about getting up so early. Yeah. But when you first get up and you expect yourself to feel okay when you're moping around, it's so early. Yeah. Well, it's like use the tools, and they're there. And that's what I love about what we have under Yogi Lab is we got breath work, we got meditation, we got things that really do help, because sometimes it's not so easy to get up and do the hard things. And what I know that's making me a better human being is finding ways to do the hard things. Yeah. And that's what's consistently what I'm here on my growth path is finding better ways for me to get up and do the hard stuff.
So do you have these practices integrated into your coaching program?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're practices that work for me. I'm just only going to help people with, what works for me and get people along the way. Yeah. And that's huge, right? Yeah, it's been massive for me. The other thing that I've really been working on lately was being okay to be wrong. Because my goddamn humongous ego didn't really like being challenged and being wrong and having a better attitude with it. David, Dave who was on the podcast is an amazing mirror, and God bless him for always really just showing me straight truth. And I needed that. And many times the first, and still here and there, often, I'm like, God damn it, I don't want to be wrong. Yeah. And that's, again, doing the hard thing. Okay, can I be like, yes, I'm wrong, yes, and can I take that information, integrate it, and find a solution? And that's like a huge part of what I'm doing, and with the coaching as well, is where are you now? Yeah, and that's why it's important to have those people around you as coaches and mentors, and to give you that perspective. But from the way you're talking about how Dave, is a mirror for you. Yeah. But he's very neutral. It's not like he wants and that's the other thing is he really loves me. Yeah. He's not even just neutral. Yeah. He's putting... But the way he's doing it doesn't have an agenda. It doesn't have trying to fix you or... He's just showing me the truth. Yeah. Yeah. He's just showing me the truth, but he's doing it because he loves me. Because he could easily just not say anything and let me continue being an ass. Yeah. And I wouldn't grow. He wants me to grow. Yeah. So he's just going to show me the truth. And those are really important people to have around. For sure. And if you don't have that, get help. And that's what I want to help people with as well, is hold people accountable. Really be there for someone and show them where they can improve. But that makes you better at the same time. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. When you got to show up for other people, it's you're you're making yourself accountable to something bigger than yourself, and then you're going to grow out of that. So I remember we talked about it earlier too, and I've just briefly touched on it. Was like, making yourself proud. Well, we talked about making our parents proud. Really quick, I was talking about, I wasn't doing things that were making my folks proud, and that sucked. And I could feel that, and subconsciously and minorly consciously, it was weighing heavy on me, man.
So is that because there was some kind of family pressure as well? Like, was that kind of in the culture of your family to, to become a doctor or something?
Of course.
And you were just like, I'm going to do the opposite?
Who isn't? I mean, a lot of people are. I wouldn't say who isn't, but a lot of people are conditioned by their family to go do a thing that they want them to do.
Well, I was the opposite. My parents didn't encourage me to do fucking anything.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah.
But I think mine's a bit of a unique story. I don't hear that very often.
Yeah.
But I just had to figure it out for myself from a very early age.
Yeah, you're an anomaly in that sense. I think a lot of people, especially coming from like a cultural background, like Indians especially, I know Chinese, a lot of my Asian friends.
I don't want to bring race into the equation, but I assume that that's the case. Right?
I grew up around a lot of that, and a lot of my friends in different cultures, Southeast Asian, all of them were like really like, you be a doctor. You're like, God damn it. But not even aside from that, but there's pressure in a lot of cases to make our parents proud. And feeling like a disappointment can really weigh a lot of shame in on people. And I felt guilt, I felt shame. I wasn't doing things that were making people around me that I wanted to make happy. And I felt like shit for it, and I carried that guilt. And the thing that really shifted that after a while was I stopped worrying about that for a little bit. I got away from the situation, but I started doing things that made myself proud. And that was a big shift for me. It's like, okay, what would I feel good doing? What would make me feel like a good person? What would fill me up with joy and love that I'm helping people? I'm doing good things. How do I feel like a good dude? And I started just focusing on that and doing that. And when I started feeling like a good dude,
and what's occurring to me as you're saying that is, because of what I know is true for me in that, me feeling good about myself is saying no to a lot of things.
Definitely.
Saying no to the right things that you might not have said no to before. Like it's putting a bunch of coins in the bag.
That's super important. And also saying yes to things that your heart wants, that are really going to make you happy. Yeah, yeses and nos.
Even if you don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, totally. And then after the fact, the people that I was trying to impress or the people that I wanted to be proud of me saw that I was proud of myself, that I was doing good, that I felt happy, and that I was making an impact around people around me. And they were happy. They were proud.
And that's what makes people move.
Yeah. And that was huge for me.
Yeah.
It might not look the way that your folks want it to look. It might not look the way that, the people that you want to make proud around you look, but as long as it looks good for you.
Can it ever though?
Yeah. Can it? But if we show up for ourselves and bring that intention into what we're doing, it makes a huge difference. Everyone else will come around. And if they don't, fuck them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just part of the filtering process of our evolutions and who we have in our circles and who we eliminate. Yeah. So what else you want to talk about? Because I don't have any notes prepared for this one. I got my closed laptop here. It's the first time I've ever done this with no questions and no notes.
We just decided to wing it yesterday.
We're having a boozy lunch or something with no booze.
Well, I want to ask you what you want for 2021.
Yeah, I mean, good question. It is building again. So I've got Lighthouse, which I'm building this year, and I'm going to rebuild the outsourcing company as well. But what I'm doing differently now compared to how I was before, everything I'm building is with other people in place right from the start. So I'm still kind of the puppet master, I guess, and my ideas, but making sure that I've got people in place working with me, that I'm collaborating with, who are smarter than me, right? That's the big thing that I want, because my pattern before is always to do things on my own and try to prove to the world, I can do this by myself. But I definitely feel like the theme for this year is to build.
I love that.
But it feels different to before, whereas building was let me set a monetary goal. I'm going to build my business to this many $1 million, and now I don't really care about that. Now my goals are more around who do I want to be, knowing that if I can move other people to hit their goals, mine are taken care of, even though I don't really need those goals anymore, right? I did a post on Facebook the other day saying my number one goal is to transcend the need for having goals. And what I mean by that is I feel as time goes on, my goals are not about things. I mean, there's things I'd like. I'd like a Tesla, you know.
Good luck anyone in Bali.
That's what I mean. You know, it's not very practical, but I'm not attached to those things anymore. Yeah. I just know that if I take care of the who I want to be side of things, all that stuff takes care of itself.
Yeah, I love that. You touched on a couple of things there that I got excited about. I mean, we talked about building things and having people around us, you know, and that's something that I was thinking about a lot too. Was I'm going to do stuff, but I want to do it around people that I like and that I want to be around, but I want them to be around me.
Yeah.
And I think one thing I really love about you is like, you're such a caring dude. And it came out really strong during the ceremony. We sat together. It's like, you're a good friend. Yeah. You know, people want to be around you. People want to be your friend. And that's like a huge, it just shows a lot about who you are and the work that you've done.
Thank you.
And I love that. You know, it's like, great. You're a fountain. You're not a drain.
Yeah.
And that's what I always ask myself before I step into a room.
Yeah.
You know, and my buddy Nick Wood taught me this. Shout out to Nick.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, ask yourself what kind of energy you have right now. Are you a fountain or are you draining it?
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to be a fountain in every room I step in.
Yeah.
You know, I want to make sure I'm coming in and buffing people up around me and being a pleasure to be around, creating together and being fun.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to be happy that I'm there. And that's what I think, you know, spiritual awareness, emotional intelligence, all this work really should be doing is, are you fun? Are you good? Are you happy? Are you creating people? Are you making happiness in other people? Are you generating a good vibe? Okay, good. Then you can create out of that vibe and then build projects around that. So you wanting to now do things with people around you, of course it's going to be successful because you're great to be around.
And what occurs to me in that is, if I have any objective with those people, it's to inspire leadership. It's to inspire them to be the best versions of themselves, but then also the business as an entity to be doing something impactful and it have its own energy. Yeah. Yeah.
The business is a fountain.
And for me to make that move without me moving, that's the next level for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's huge, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it getting big. I think a lot of people are ready for 2021 to, okay, let's adapt and evolve and do it. Like, humans can get used to anything. Holy, can we ever, right? Like, can we get used to being depressed? Can we get used to being in chaos? Can we get used to, you know, living in prison or whatever it is? But we can then just kind of sit there and be, all right, this is the way things are now, and forget that, hey, we have the opportunity to choose. Yeah. We can shift things. We always have the opportunity to respond.
I think a lot of people have learned some resilience, you know, because society has just numbed us and dumbed us down with, you know, painkillers and television and shitty food and, you know, there's an unintentional conditioning and then there's an intentional conditioning as well, and there's no resilience in that. You know, when people lived hundreds of years ago and they had to deal with diseases and wars, and it's like we haven't had to deal with that for a long time
now.
Yeah.
And who knows what's going to happen in 2021? I'm betting you aliens. I bet you right now here on this podcast, aliens are going to come in 2021.
Well, I just interviewed somebody else and we were talking about aliens.
Yeah.
And aliens not being aliens, they're just beings from a higher dimension.
I mean, technically that's still an alien, but yeah, technically. Yeah. But I totally believe it. Yeah, 100%.
Oh no, I think we're going to be seeing UFOs flying around, for sure.
Yeah, for
sure.
I'm excited for that to happen in our.
I'm excited.
Well, in our lifetime, like that's cool. Yeah. I just hope it's not like Independence Day. Will Smith, 1999, great movie. I hope it's not like that. Yeah. I hope they're friendly. They're cool aliens. They want to do fun stuff with us. Yeah. Not dissect me.
I think it's just us.
Yeah. I think it's just us from other dimensions, versions of us.
It's either an ascended version or a future version of us.
Yeah, okay. I could see that. Because time isn't linear. Maybe they're just us from other...
They've just figured out something that we haven't yet, that we can't, our minds can't even grasp.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for these little monkey minds to figure shit like that out.
No. I hope so. I really hope so. We were talking about right before that, before the aliens jumped in. I had a point from what you were saying, but I think it was like getting really surprised at what we can create. And so when I moved out here, I got really surprised that I was able to make it happen. Like I took a risk and and just took a shot at it and just did what I knew would work. And I really simplified my life and I just learned some stuff. And that's what I'm super excited to help people in what we're doing with Yogi Lab and with my own coaching program and the webinar I got coming up. It's like, I want to show people they can do amazing things, and you just have to have that structure in your life.
And I think the industries around that, like, I mean, we've seen for a long time, personal development and yoga and all these kind of, practices, which is bettering humanity, have been evolving for the last few decades. And that's just going to keep expanding, and to the, I think it's limitless.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm just excited about people.
Which means anybody who's watching, it's like, there's so much opportunity. Like, if you feel called to participate in something, even if you don't know what it looks like, there's going to be so many opportunities.
Yeah. Now's the time.
Yeah.
There's never been such weirder things happening in the world.
Yeah.
Well, while we were alive, maybe, but now's the time where there's so many opportunities happening.
Yeah.
That we can become and do anything.
Yeah.
So we can just pick a thing and go do it.
And I mean, aliens are coming anyway, so we're all fucked. So
Right.
may as well just jump in the fire and figure it out.
Yeah, might as well just do as much epic stuff as you can until
the aliens come and get us.
they get us.
Somebody gave me the theory, because I had broken ribs last year and I didn't know how I did it. And somebody told me that they were sure I was abducted by aliens on multiple occasions in my sleep.
Wow.
And that's how I got broken ribs.
They were sure.
They were sure that I was abducted by aliens, and that's how I got broken
What gave
ribs.
them that surety? What was like some of the signs? Like, yeah, aliens. Where? How?
Well, because I didn't know what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
And there was a fracture here, and a fracture here, with no accident. Apparently, I guess it must be common in alien abductions.
Yeah. Did you feel any superpowers? Anything different other than the fractured
No,
ribs?
I don't remember. I've got no memories, no grey suit memories. I wouldn't be worried anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, fair enough. Man,
My life's been weird. My life's been weird from the start, so nothing would surprise me.
I resonate. I understand. Yeah, I think the best thing that we can do is just become as capable as possible. So if any of this crazy weird stuff continues to happen, we can handle it because we're just better people.
Yeah.
So it's the time to do personal development. It's the
Yeah.
time to become a more capable human being, because things just seem to be getting weirder.
Yeah.
So you might as well invest in yourself and become a better human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, how do people find you?
Instagram,
Yeah.
usually current things happening in my life.
Ink, pray, love.
Yo.
Ink, pray, love.
Now the eat, pray, love thing makes sense, right? You get it. The Julia Roberts,
What's the ink part?
obviously the tattoo shops.
Oh, right.
Conscious Arts Tattoos, Karma House Tattoos. We are still open for VIP clients, which is everyone, because we love our clients so much.
Yeah.
Well, appointment only. Come on in. We'll reserve the shop for you guys when you're coming in.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll get you in the get you
Back in the chair.
Yep.
All right.
Yogi Lab, of course. We're going to be putting out lots of content. We're having our own coaching programs.
And so I'll just make mention again of the online Vipassana. It's free, right?
Free online Vipassana every 11th to 22nd.
Right.
And that is gaining so much traction. So many people are having an amazing time learning meditation from Dave, who's a master teacher. He's incredible. And people are getting it from a way that they can comprehend, that's applicable, that's like digestible for them today.
I actually want to come and do the 10-day at like live.
We'd love to have you at this, Donna. Absolutely. And so take a look. My webinar is coming out January 16th.
Okay.
This year, 2021.
Yep.
Very soon.
Is this for drug dealers?
It's for everyone, whether you dealt drugs, done drugs, don't like drugs, whatever. You are invited. We are going to game plan 2021.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a blueprint to have an amazing year. It's
sweet.
how I handle all these big projects in my life.
Yep.
And how I was able to make sure I got things done from start to finish. And I want to share that structure with everybody.
Yep.
And see what amazing things people can actually do.
Yeah, cool.
Destroy their limiting beliefs, plan out what they want to do, and make some moves. So that's what this
So
is
we'll make
about.
sure everyone's got the links to
absolutely.
everything, and we'll share that and make sure as many people on there as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you are a drug dealer, I'm here to help. not deal drugs. I mean, if you want to go legit, I just want to be helping anybody from a place of chaos and need, because I know there's a lot of heartache that comes in, not even just if you're a drug dealer, but people who are in a really rough spot, but that are capable and intelligent human beings. Because there's a lot of people out there that are low-key geniuses that couldn't handle the world around them.
Exactly. They can't figure out the outlet to channel that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you channeled it through drug dealing and
then I got into actually amazing things after that once I learned how to how to channel and create some structure in my life that
Yep.
created a positive impact around me. And that's what I'm passionate about helping people with.
Yeah.
That's what I know how to do, and that's what I want to help people do. And I think that'll be a huge service to people's lives.
Yeah, and for anybody probably who's feeling like there is something bigger for them,
Yeah.
and like they're kind of on the edge of wanting to step into that,
Yeah.
but maybe hesitant for some reason.
Those are exactly the people I want to help.
Yeah.
That know that they're made for a bigger impact. They know they're meant for more.
Yeah,
They're not meant
But
to
it's
be just this first.
But it's just a knowing. It's a feeling. You don't need to know what it looks like. But you gotta
Absolutely.
just step into it.
Yeah.
whatever
You
it
might
looks
not
like.
even know what you're meant to be doing in life, but you
Yes.
have a feeling, hey, something
This is-
more is in me. I'm meant to be doing something.
This is the
deeper.
webinar version of flying to Bali.
That's exactly it. There you go.
We'll make sure everybody's got the links. Aren, thank you so much for joining, man. This is a real pleasure.
Thank you,
I
brother.
think we've been talking for about an hour and 20 minutes and didn't
Whoa.
even know the time. I'm looking at your watch.
Oh, we went for it.
Yeah.
I knew we would.
So, dude, I'll make sure everybody's got the links. You got any last final words for people for 2021? Because we're going to be putting this out as a let's go get 2021 version of the podcast.
Man, just first of all, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it on such short notice. I know we were just going to be able to jam. If I want to leave anybody with anything, it's just putting some intention into everything you do. Leaving this podcast, put some intention into what you do next.
Yeah.
Let that follow you for the rest of the day. Let that follow you in what you're doing. Just put intention into what you're doing and see the way it shifts what you're doing. And that's what I want to do with this year. That's what I want to do in planning this year. That's what I want to do every day.
Yeah.
Intention.
Join this guy.
Thank you.
Aren, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Cheers, man.
Appreciate it.
Guys, make sure you go check out the links. Jump on his webinar. Is it going to be a recording or
It'll be a recording, absolutely. If you're in some strange time zone.
or you watch this podcast when it's too late or whatever?
Yeah,
So,
no problem, no
yeah,
problem. There'll be a recording. I want to make sure everybody gets it.
Cool.
It'll be live, and then I'll have a recording for everyone, so you can sign up. We'll email you the recorded version, and it'll be just as powerful. And you might have a bit more time to do the writing and the planning, so you can pause me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. See you back next time, back down the rabbit hole.
Peace.